Hello everyone, welcome back to my page. It's styled by Leo, popularly known as Leo of Africa. I teach people online and offline how to sew. I take a lot of online courses as well, but in this video I'll be taking my time to explain how to cut, pad, sew and finish a corset, top, blouse or gown. So like this video and let's get into it. So this is the measurement I'll be working with. Someone also asked as well. So I'm working with bust 42, under bust 34, waistline 36, hip 44, and then the shoulder is 16, yoke line is 6.5. So we'll be moving on from there. And this is my cup. I'll be using cup 44 because she's busty. This is the cup 44. So one thing I'm going to do, even before I start measuring anything, is to fold my cup into two. Fold it into two, make sure it is equal by the sides, and then notch the upper part and notch the lower part. You can just mark it if you have a marker with you. Can you see? Or better still, you notch with your scissors. Just cut a little bit. Can you see? This is notched. Can you see the upper part? So this indicates that this is the center of the cup. I'll do the same at the bottom, at the lower part, so that I can know the exact center of the circumference of the cup. I hope you can all hear me clearly. So moving on, I'm going to start by measuring all my lengths. I'll measure all my lengths. Don't forget, length, I'm just going to place my tape to avoid stress. So the yoke line is 6.5, under bust is 14.5. Our half length is 17.5, and then our girdle length is 24. Can you all see? I'm going to do the same marking at the other side. Yoke line 6.5, on the bust 14.5, half length 17.5, girdle length 24. Mind you, there is one very important thing to note, which is we are not marking the nipple point. Why? Because we don't need it. The nipple point is going to be indicated on the cup by itself. I hope you understand my point. I hope you get my point. Now let me explain another question that was asked. Let me answer another question that was asked. Sorry. This yoke line is depending strongly on the style. No be every yoke line is 6.5. No be every yoke line is 6. Some styles will make the bust to be very exposed. Some will keep the bust minimally exposed. Some will cover the bust totally. If it's high yoke, check the style. Ask the client. Communicate with your client. Where do you want it to start from? Do you want it to expose the breast? Do you want it to cover all the breast? If the person wants to expose the breast, depending on the person's size, you can use 7.5, you can use 8, you can use 7 at times. But then one of the most important parts that will show whether the breast will be exposed or not is this center design, not the dart design. If they want it very exposed and popping up, then you can reduce this 6.5, this dart design. I'll show you what I mean by dart and center now. We'll get there very soon. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to link my two markings, all my length, link it together so I can see everything on a straight line. Let's link it together. I hope these markings are very clear, unlike the previous one. So I'm going to move on by what? Measuring my shoulder. Shoulder 16 divided by 2 is 8. I mark my 8. I'll also come down to the armhole side and mark the same 8. This 8 is going to be my armhole determinant. 8 is not directly the armhole, but the armhole determinant. So I'm going to crisscross it, link the two together on a straight line to get my armhole determinant. Can you see what we have? This is the armhole determinant, and then I'll start by measuring all my circumference. I'll start with the bust, which I'm going to measure by the armhole. I have bust 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. plus my sewing allowance 1.5 inches. So I'll come down to the under bust, 34 divided by 4, 8.5, plus my sewing allowance 1.5 inches. I'll come to the half length, which is the waist, 36 divided by 4 is 9, plus sewing allowance 1.5 inches. I hope you can all see this. I'll come to the girdle length. Mind you, the girdle length is usually very close to the hip, sometimes at the hip, sometimes a little bit higher than the hip, sometimes a little bit lower than the hip. So I'll be using my hip circumference for the girdle circumference. I hope you can all see that, which is 44. Hip 44 divided by 4, that is 11. I'm going to mark 11 and mark my 1.5 inches sewing allowance. I'm going to link this together with a free sketch. First, I hope you can all see this. So this is what we have. This is our body shape. This is our body circumference. First, and let me tell you a secret, this is the basis for anything you are doing in female sewing. Even if you want to cut, overlay this thing, even if this is the foundation, this is the first step. So the next thing I'm going to do is to determine my armhole. How? I'll come to the shoulder, remove 3/4 of an inch for my shoulder slant. It depends on how wide the person is, how wide, how fat, how huge the person is. I hope you can all see this. So I'm going to divide what I have left by 2. I have 7 1/4 left. Divided by 2 is 3.5 points. This one here, can you see? So here I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch. Just come in by 1/2 inch. Please and please don't get overwhelmed by my explanation. You can go over this one at a time if you want to, or ask questions repeatedly. If you have questions, ask over and over again until you get satisfied. Can you see? One thing I'm going to do now is to link this my shoulder dart to my body measurement. Can you see? To my bust, and then link it to the shoulder slant. So I'm going to place my French cuff in a way that it is touching both this dart, this French cuff, and then my bust line measurement. This point, and this point. Can you see? Place it in a way that it is touching the 3. This is simple and straightforward. Do you get my point? Can you see? If you measure this now, you see this is a standard shoulder, this is a standard armhole for bust 42. Let's measure this. What do we have here? Can you see? This is 11.5 minus 1.5 sewing allowance, that is 10, minus the joining 1/2 inch that will be joined at the upper part, that is 9.5, which is perfect for a big bust 42. So this armhole determinant works every time. It works all the time, trust me. So moving on, we determine our armhole. This is our body line. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to create my neckline, one, and then create my dart, my body dart. So I'm going to come to the neckline, use 3 inches by 3.5, the standard round neck, and then curve it out with my French curve, 3 by 3.5. Can you see? Next thing I'll do is link my neckline to my shoulder slant. Can you see? So this is a standard yoke. This upper part now is what we call the yoke, from ear to ear. Most of the time it is removed and added again with another material, be it veil net for the upper part, to show the skin a little bit, to show the breast a little bit if the breast is a little bit exposed. Most of the time we replace this with veil net or some other materials. Can we all see? So I'm going to go ahead and measure the dart line. How do I get my dart line? I'm going to divide my under bust by 8. Our under bust is 34 inches. Divided by 8 is going to give us 4 1/4. mark your 4 1/4 all the way. 4 1/4. We use general dart line for a corset. 4 1/4 and then 4 1/4 at the down part. Can you see? It's a straight line dart. So I'm going to link this all the way through. Link my 4 1/4 all the way through. This is as simple as A, B, C. Make sure to watch this over and over again and ask any question you feel like. This I did here is very, very simple and straightforward. This is the dart line now. There is no calculation here, there is no calculation here. Why? Because we will be using the cup to cut the breast cage, the breast hole. Can we all say? And meanwhile, this is the reason why we notch here in the first instance, the 2 parts. So I'm going to place my cup now in a way that it is kissing at the under bust. The breast is ending at the under bust. So place your cup in a way that it is touching the under bust. And make sure that this line is touching and this line too is moving across the dart line. Place it in a way that it is standing here, it is standard. And like I said earlier, it is the cup that will tell us what will remain at the center here. Some people will just say I remove half, some people will just say I remove 1, some people will just say remove 3/4. Guessing. You don't have to guess. Place the cup and the cup will tell you the space that will remain. It will be determined by how busty the person is. Trust me. You notice that big breast, people that have big breasts, they know this. There is no much space in between big breasts. Sometimes they don't even have space in between at all. You can even note from your bra. Space not to the day for big breast. Why? Because it is voluminous, it is big, it is plenty. So it is always moving together. Do you get? But small breasts are always standing apart. Why? Because it is small, it is on its own. Do you get my point? So can you see this now? You notice that this is exactly half or a little bit less than half. Can you see? So it is the cup that will tell us wetin go remain for here. Na the cup na im go talk am. You no understand? So na so it just be. So moving on, I'm going to hold my cup firm, hold it firmly, and then mark it round. Meanwhile, make sure to get a standing cup. If your cup is not standing, then you can hold a little bit of that. And for the madam that asked about that, your dart should not be more than 1.5 inches long. 1/4 or half inches at most if it's very, very flat. 1/4 of an inch or half inches at most to hold it, and then it should not be more than 1.5 inches long. At most, it should not be more than half an inch. Why? Because to over-darting the cup reduces the size of the cup. Over-darting the cup reduces the size of the cup. So this is cup 44. If I over-dart it now, you notice that if I over-dart it, you notice it will reduce. Can you see? So it might reduce to 42 and you don't know. Do you get my point? So if the cup is not as firm as this, most cup are not like this due to the mode of transport. Those people, they will just pull load on top. Before you reach it, you don't flat finish like this. Some cup, I bought the cup that is like this last week. So you need to just hold a little dart at the upper part to make it stand firm. Can you see? So that is the point. So hold this in place. Make sure the notched part aligns with this dart line. This notch part, make sure it is sitting across this dart line. This notch part, make sure it is sitting at the dart line at the under bust, and then we can mark all round. Can you see? Mark it all round. Can you see what I did there? So this is the cup hole, this is the breast hole. So trace this up and then trace this up. Can we all see? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to create my yoke line design. This yoke line now, there's always a design here. Is it a sweetheart neckline? Is it V neckline? Is it curved neckline? Is it wide sweetheart? Whatever design you want, you can create here. And someone asked a very intelligent question. She said, what about the space that will remain from here? You know the cup is not reaching the yoke. Most of the time it does not. Pardon me. Most of the time it does not reach the yoke line. If you want the breast to be well covered, unless you want the breast to be a little bit exposed, that's when the cup will be here. That's when the yoke will not be here. But most of the time the cup is not reaching the yoke. I hope you get my point. So that is why we must always use interface on our fabric. When the fabric is well padded with interface, then this part is not going to be looking as if there's no cup inside. Do you get my point? Let me show you an example now. Look at these two corset dresses. Can you see? Can you see the upper part? The cup is not reaching the upper part. All these parts that you see that is standing, the cup is not. Let me bring it a little bit closer. Can you see? The cup is not reaching here, but here is not looking as if there's nothing inside. Why? Because it is well padded. This upper part, now like here, now the cup stop, just like this one that I'm cutting, because this is well covered on the owner. Do you get my point? So that is why we must always use interface on our fabric. If air is not well padded now, you go down the rumple, they squeeze, they why? Because that air cup no reach here. Do you get my explanation? Please, any other question you have, please feel free to ask. We are together in this one. Feel free to ask. Unless you want the breast to be exposed, that's when you can lower the yoke line. And always make sure to follow the style. Follow the style in toe. If you want it to be exposed, lower the yoke line. You want it to be well covered, use the normal yoke line. Best way to go about it is to measure the yoke line on the client. Touch the yoke line, touch the client. Is it okay here? Talk to them, ask them. All these things doesn't make you look less of who you are, or as a fashion designer, it does not make people look down on you. Instead, it makes people respect you more. Sincerely, people will think you really know what you are doing. Trust me, when you ask all these questions, you definitely, she knows what she's doing. She'll be professional. Trust me. So let's move on. Sorry for the let's move on. Can we all see this? So at the center, like I said earlier, these two parts, this center and this dot line, now it will determine whether the breast will show or it no go show. So at the center I'll come down by 2.5 inches. At the armhole line, I'll come down by 1 inch, just to create some kind of design there. Can you see? So I'll be linking this with my French cord to the armhole, especially if it is an off shoulder. Can you see? It gives that sweet kind of design at the yoke line. And then I'll be linking this to my dart, to my center yoke. Can you see? So this is what we have as the yoke line. This is very, very simple and straightforward. The yoke line design might not necessarily be like this all the time. There are some that the center, it will even reach the underbust itself. It is now from here that you link it here, or from here link it here, link it here. There are some styles like that. I'll drop sample pictures of those styles in the channel after this video. So moving on, can you see what we have? So this is the end of the patterning and cutting. This is the end of the pattern creation and cutting. Can you see? This is very straight, no stress at all. Mark out your dart, place your cup on your dart and mark out the cup hole. Can you see this? Can you see how lovely and straightforward this is? Can you see? So let's cut it out and then we cut the cup. According to the design, you can open this, you can also open the center, but if you don't want to open it, just notch here so you know where to start your joining from. Start your cup joining from here up, from here down. Do you get? But if you open it, it will be way more easier for you. Open it up, open the center up, or you can leave the center if you wish to. Can you see? So one very important thing you have to know is that when cutting out your original fabric, this is just the pattern paper. When cutting out your original fabric, always add half an inch. You see all these sides, add half. If you are joining, if you are opening here, it's only the parts that you are not opening that you not add half. This other side too, sewing allowance to join it to this part, half. Same thing with the yoke line, half. Joining allowance, turning allowance. Do you get my point? All round except for the sides only. Can you see the yoke? This is our yoke line. Can you see it's a sweetheart kind of form? And then this is our front bodies. Can you see? So this is what we have as the front bodies. This is quite simple and straightforward. This is our cup, but it's not reaching the yoke line, which the fabric is going to fill up for. Simple, straightforward. So I want people to digest this part well before I move on to cutting the corset itself and then padding and sewing. And to people that watch my videos without giving it a thumbs up, God is watching you. Like this video. See you in the next post. Bye.